Hello, video 2. What do you know? So, I'm a writer, and one of the things I talk about quite often is writing. And in today's video, I wanted to talk about one kind of writing, a certain aspect of writing. Um, it is not journal writing, which I encourage people to do, and that's a separate video in itself, a whole different topic. The kind of writing I'm talking about is more deep, reflective, and I, what I believe is it's a more clarifying kind of writing. Right? I encourage everyone to write, whether they are writers or not, because I believe it is an important tool to have today for all of us to help us understand ourselves, especially when so much of our opinions and beliefs are being shaped not by us but by pretty much everyone, everything else around us, right? So I encourage, and oftentimes very enthusiastically, to the point of piling on to people and forced and really encourage them to write, because I really do very passionately believe it's important. The thing is, we all write every day, we all spend a lot of time writing every day, except it is on emails and text messages and in WhatsApp, for example, right? um, and that kind of is shapes a lot of our writing, the language we use, the words we use, the syntax, the grammar, the casualness of the communication, right? That shapes and defines so much of our writing, if that is all the writing that we do. Even emails these days are far more casual than it used to be. So when we start to write, it sounds very pedestrian, and we ourselves have a certain idea of what good writing is about, and when we write it, it doesn't look anywhere like what we have in our heads of an example of good writing, and therefore we get discouraged. So I want to talk about some of those things over here. The fact is, we live in very interesting times. It's a time of great change, a time of flux, and I think writing helps us understand our own beliefs, what we what our thoughts are on certain matters, right? Global matters that have started affecting us, affecting our daily lives. I like to think of our minds as a large garden, except it has no fence and there is no sign which says no trespassers. What that means is pretty much everybody is allowed to come in and pitch a tent. Influencers, YouTube videos like mine, um, and everybody is allowed to come in, dump whatever garbage they want, plant seeds of what kind of crops and weeds and trees we don't know, right? And pretty much our mind is just this garden where everybody else's ideas and thoughts and beliefs are taking shape, and we kind of get influenced by that. Writing, the kind of writing I'm talking about, I look at it as a sieve, as a filter, to kind of take inventory, take stock of just what exactly is sitting inside our head, right? What thoughts are ours, what beliefs are ours, what are the opinions that we have allowed to come in, and just take stock of what is sitting inside, and then start to clear out things that don't work for us, and then start to, and the process of clarifying itself generates ideas and clarifies for us our belief and our stance on a certain topic. Um, I know that over the last 2 months, 3 months, um, I've had certain strong opinions that I've had to re-examine, and I've had to say, okay, I thought this way, and I don't think I can hold on to this belief anymore. And I think that's a good thing. I think it is important for us to know just what is sitting in our head, and writing helps us do that. The kind of writing I'm talking about is personal essay writing. Now, I always encourage people to write, to start writing with pen on paper or pencil on paper, before moving on to the keyboard. I use the keyboard a lot myself for all kinds of writing, whether it's work or whether it's fiction. But there is also a form of, but I also find great value in writing pen on with pen and paper, and I urge you to do that. I think one of the things that kind of discourages us from taking up writing are certain beliefs and ideas that we have. And it is to dispel some of that I'm going to read a few passages from this book. It's an amazing book. It's called The Art of Slow Writing, Reflections on Time, Craft, and Creativity. So I just want to read out a few passages from it, and hopefully, how long have I done? 5 minutes. Yeah. And hopefully it will kind of encourage you to pursue this, because I assure you that when you start writing, you will feel discouraged, you will feel demoralized, you will look at the stuff you've produced and say, man, this has no value, there's no way I'm going to get anything useful, and that this is going to help me discern my thoughts, my feelings, my emotions and opinions on certain matters, and there's no value in this. I assure you, you're going to reach that place. Everybody reaches that place, and my hope is that I can give you some things that you can tell yourself to move beyond this. Right? Okay. These are again just short passages. Okay. Yet the best writing grows by accretion over time. As John Updike said, I try to be a regular sort of fellow, much like a dentist drilling his teeth every morning, except Sunday. Taking time prevents us from writing knee jerk responses to challenging material. And I think that's a great starting point. What do we feel about the things that are happening in the world today? Just pick a topic, pick something that is really bothering you, an incident, an event, something somebody said, right? And as you write about it, I believe that it would be a challenging material, right? And as we write about it is when we get clarity on what our perspectives on that are. Moving forward, oh, this is great, this I really like, and this is a nice continuation from last week's the last video, which was about Salman Rushdie, right? So Salman Rushdie, in his memoir Joseph Anton, described that it took him 13 years to understand that his identity as a writer was that of a migrant. It took him 13 years to understand that his identity as a writer was that of a migrant who ended up in a place that was not the place where he began. So this is what I'm saying. As you write, to discover your voice, to discover what you really care about, what you really want to write about, is going to take you some time. It may not be about, well, your starting point may be to write about the current scenario in the world, right? I'm not asking you to write global affairs or political reflections on the Greater Israel Project, for example, or anything of that sort. I'm using the current political frame as a foot in the door, as a starting point for you to start examining what you have in your head already, and using writing to find your way around. It reminds me of this excellent analogy that I've read about. Imagine you're an archaeologist and you are in your head and you are using different tools to start chipping away, to clear away the soil, you move away the sand. Sometimes you need a shovel to move big chunks of earth, sometimes you need a finer brush, sometimes you need delicate tools. You're basically trying to find out what is in your head, and writing is that tool. This is something I'd spoken about earlier, right? The people we communicate with expect our responses immediately, and all this back and forth emailing or texting, innocuous as it seems, shifts our attitude to time, so we might begin to value only that which happens quickly. All this back and forth emailing or texting, innocuous as it seems, shifts our attitude to time, so we might begin to value only that which happens quickly. Again, going back to the fact that our first and initial attempts at writing and discovering what's in our head is going to take time, and it is okay to take time, and that is exactly what this is about, right? This is the art of slow writing. Writing takes time, and yeah, and this is what I wanted to say. We expect ourselves to work quickly. We tell ourselves that if our writing takes so long, we might not be cut out for the writing life. We might equate our worth as writers with the number of pages we write rather than with the excellence of our work. Oh, this is brilliant, isn't it? We tell ourselves that if our writing takes so long, we might not be cut out for the writing life. The fact is, the time it takes you is not an indicator of how good you are as a writer or the quality of your writing. But that is some. But we've somewhere along the line, along the way, we've kind of been made to believe that, or we've inherited that belief upon ourselves. As Adam Gopnik has written of the slow food movement in The Table Comes First, in a world that values speed, if we make a commitment to take time, we commit to an important set of values. So, how does slow writing come relate to what I've been telling you? Start writing. The starting point, while a lot of people say, oh, what do I write about? I don't know what to write about. I don't have anything to write about. I'm not going to write about the tree outside my house, or the sunset this morning, or the sunset this evening, and the sunrise this morning. No, write what you want, whatever your fancy is. But given that we are in an interesting phase in our lives, as far as the world is concerned, it is important for us to know what beliefs we hold on, what opinions we have, and to take a check, to take inventory of what's in our head. And which is why I'm suggesting that we start reflecting upon the global events and keep a record for ourselves, what we believed at this stage in our life. Maybe 10 years from now, when you look back at it, or even 5 years from now, 5 months from now, if you go back and read it, you may find that your thinking has changed, your beliefs have changed. And when I read some of the stuff I've written 10 years back, thank God some of my beliefs have changed, because they deserve to. And it's good, and it's a great reminder for me that that's what I was thinking, and that's where I was, and this is where I am now. So it's a good milestone marker to where your head was at this moment of great change. I'm going to read a few more passages before we sign off. Let me see how much time I have. It's already a 12-minute video, so I do tend to ramble on. Most writers I know expect more from themselves than is humanly possible. This often derails their work. We do expect a lot from ourselves, and this does derail our work, because it kind of paralyzes you and thinking there's so much more to be done. Okay. As we begin our work, remembering we needn't know how it will turn out or whether it will be successful might be comforting. And I think this is a good place to close over here. We will not know the quality of what we write as we write. We simply have to trust the process, and we have to keep writing. Writing is a form of exercise. We have forgotten the art of writing. You will be surprised that you will stop to wonder what the spelling of simple words are, because very often autocorrect is filling in the gaps for us. Writing will take time. You have to accept it. So if you're writing an essay, or if you're writing a small piece on what is happening today, on any particular aspect of it, at the my experience is that the first output is going to be just emptying out of what you already know, what seems so blatantly obvious, which anybody can get from anywhere. But remember, the idea of you writing this is not to give somebody a perspective or opinion that is amazing, that no one has thought about before, or something that is fantastically new. The idea of what I'm asking and encouraging you to do is to discover for yourself where your head is at this point, right? And it will take time. You don't have to show this to anyone. Nobody needs to read it. Nobody needs to know you're doing it. So there is no pressure of working towards a deadline. I suggest writing as much as you can. Maybe you have a page limit. Maybe you have a word limit. Maybe you have a time limit. My encouragement is to have no limits. Write as much as or as little as you can. Okay. I hope that was helpful. I do, when we speak about writing, I do tend to ramble on a lot. And this is great because if you have stopped this video already and you're packed up, I wouldn't even know, which hasn't stopped my rambling, which sometimes happens with people. All right. Thanks for listening in. Talk to you. I will talk to you again soon. Ciao.